Hi everyone, nice to see you, and today we're gonna talk about React, and we're going to try to understand why we would use React and how we should set it up. Okay, so what is React basically? Okay, so React is a JavaScript library for building user interfaces. So what is a JavaScript library? So a JavaScript library is a set of pre-written JavaScript code that allows for easier development of JavaScript-based applications. Wonderful, right? So what is a UI? So the UI is basically what the user sees and interact with. So React is a set of pre-written JavaScript code that will help us easily write our code for the user interfaces. And there are many applications that have been built with React, including Facebook, Squarespace, Netflix, even Airbnb, and tons of other great applications and websites. So we use React to control everything in the user interface, like controlling the data, what data we want to show, what do we want to control, how we switch pages for routing. But why do we use React? And why would we choose React instead of other frameworks? Okay, so what we had before React was just vanilla JavaScript without anything else. And we have skipped all the DOM interaction directly with JavaScript. That means the get element by ID and so on. And maybe later you will have to learn this, so please feel free to check out how to interact with a DOM directly with JavaScript. But we will skip to React directly because what we do here is writing JavaScript differently in a way that makes more sense for our brain, and it's quite a lot easier to understand. Okay? Wonderful. So I will show you some code. Okay? So let's say we have a to-do application. So to write this to-do application, this is the vanilla JavaScript code we have to write. Okay? And as you can see, it's hard to understand. And we will skip this, okay? But we will focus on how we did it on React. And why would we choose React instead of Svelte or Vue or Angular? By the way, I personally love Svelte. We'll talk about it later. But the reason why I would teach React first is because React is more established. There are a lot of opportunities with React, more tooling and libraries built for it. There are a ton of libraries for React and open source projects that you can use and the community has happily shared, and I hope you in the future will also contribute to the community. And talking about the community of React or in React is really huge. Okay, so if we want to start, where would we start our React journey? Okay, so first, common way to install React is through Create React Apps. If you Google create a React app, that's what you will find out. But the way I recommend would be through Yarn and Vite. Okay? So before that, then what we need to do is to install Yarn. Okay? From our previous video, I've already shared about Node.js, so I believe you already have it installed in your computer. What you need to do is just do npm install and then -g to say global and yarn. Okay? And after that, I already have Yarn installed, so for you just have to wait for the installation. And why do we use Yarn, by the way? Here I am really saving you a ton of time, because Yarn caches every package it downloads and it never needs to do it again. So if you've created an app with Yarn and there are some data, let's say some modules that have been already downloaded, when Yarn needs it later, you don't need to download it anymore. And there has been a few times when my internet connection was really bad and I couldn't install any NPM package at all. So after I switched to Yarn, it was a game changing, I tell you. So that's why we need Yarn. So after that, we just need to create the application with Vite. What is Vite? Okay, this is how we spell Vite. Vite is a build tool that enables faster development by recompiling only the changed files on each save. Doesn't that sound awesome to you? Because other tools will recompile all your files. So Vite helps us do a faster work. Okay, so we create our React application with Vite by doing yarn create Vite. Okay, then we need to hit enter, and as you can see here, upon fetching packages, because I've already done it before, it's done in 2 seconds because we are using Yarn at the same time. Okay, so let's say React here. Okay, so I want to name the project React. Then I hit enter. Then I choose React, and we will use JavaScript for now. We'll talk about TypeScript later. So let's choose React, and we're done. What we need to do after that is to open the folder and install the dependencies. What are the dependencies? So we're gonna find out later. We just need to install them right now through Yarn. We just need to write Yarn, hit enter, and this will install all the dependencies that you need. Okay, and because I have already my project here, after these dependencies are installed, we already have our folder opened in VS Code here. And let me show you what all these files are. Okay, so what's already opened here is the configuration file of Vite. Okay, I've never needed to touch it until now, and I guess we won't talk about it until maybe there is something I would want to share about it. We've already learned about Git, so this .git ignore file here just tells Git to ignore all these folders and files. And this yarn.log here is like a lock of all the packages that you've installed. Any files in our directory that matches these patterns will be ignored by Git. Okay? And this index.html here is the only HTML file you will find inside a React project, and we will talk about it a bit later, right after the package.json here. So this package.json contains our scripts. When we do, for example, yarn dev, this will trigger the Vite command. This will run our application, and when we run build, it will build the app. When we run preview, it will preview the app. So here we have the dependencies. Okay, so inside our app we are using React and React DOM, and when we're making an app, these are not the only modules that we'll need. We'll need many other dependencies that we'll go through step by step, and these are the dev dependencies. What this means is, when we compile the app later, when we ship it to production, only these modules are getting compiled and sent with the app. But these dependencies are required for the development. And these node modules, this is just to say, this is a folder that you don't need to touch unless there is something wrong and you would need to delete it and reinstall the package with the command yarn as we did earlier. But this just contains all the modules of Node. That's what it is. And now let's come back to index.html. Okay, so this is the file that will get rendered for our React application. And what we find here is this div with the ID root, and then this script with main JSX. Okay, so what is JSX? So JSX is the React extension for the JavaScript language. Why do we need this? We will write HTML-like syntax inside our JavaScript files. And you will find out that this will gonna be really practical, okay? So let's open this main.jsx for now to find out what's inside it. So this is what's inside the main.jsx file. And by the way, if you are using Create React App to create your React app, this won't be the file structure, but they are basically the same things. Okay, so what we have here is it is used in React DOM, and it says create root with this get element by ID root, and we know that this element's ID is root. Okay, so what this does is it renders this app component in strict mode instead of this element. Okay, it says document.get element by ID root, which is this element here. Okay, so instead of showing this, it will replace it with this. Okay, and this is a component, and the content of this app component is, as you can see here, import app from app, and here we have the app.jsx file. But before that, we have other imports here, apart from the React and React DOM and the app that is the component we've talked about. We import this index.css file, which is this, by the way. And now this index.css file is applied to our React app. Okay, now let's see what's inside this app here. Okay, let's control and click or command click on Mac, and that will open the component here. So here we find out what's inside the app component. As you can see, it returns this here, and this is HTML with class name instead of class, with these links, with images and text. So what I will do now is let's open this inside the browser and see what all these things are. Okay, so let's open the terminal and say yarn dev, and this runs our React app here. So I just need to open this, and here is our React app. Okay, and if I click this count here, it increases. It says count is 9, 10, and so on. Okay, so these images with the links, what's here is this content here. So first, we import useState from React, and useState is a way to manipulate and control data inside your application. Okay, so this code here is to display this. Okay, so we have the images, vid plus React, which is this h1, and then we have this card and this text here. But what we haven't seen yet is we have this anonymous function here that is triggered when we click on the button. Okay, so it says set count and then use count as a variable and return count plus 1. Okay, and here count is display the variable count. So what's happening here is first we display this count here. Okay, we can find it out here. Count is 15 now, and when I click on it, it changes. So this value count can be updated when we call the function setCount. Okay, and here we increment it by 1. Okay, so that's what we have here. We say const and count, which is the value, and setCount, which is the function that will set the value of count equal useState 0. 0 is the default value of our state. So now, whenever we call setCount and put a value inside it, count will have the value that we've put inside setCount. Okay? And in order to use it, we just need to import useState from React here. Wonderful. So apart from that, we are also importing app.css here, which is why we get this styling. And that's it. That's how we will get started, and I hope you have found this video helpful. We will work on how to use React from here on. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.